We're live, traders. Welcome to the webinar. So somebody just decided to press the buy button this morning, Eastern 9:30 Eastern time, 2:30 UK time. So on the Nasdaq especially, it just ripped from the open, pulled back at highs now. What interesting day we have. Crude off 1% and a bit. Gold up a smidge. Dollar continues to just drift off lower. USD JPY down, Euro US dollar. Yeah, Euro's having a funny one. That spike on Friday with the data. Interesting times. Anyway, as we come into August, well, I say this, but last year I said this, and everything just kicked off, and it was like the most wildest August just as I was stepping foot on a plane. So August tends to be quieter, tends to be calmer. However, because there's less liquidity, often we get some spice. So I think it pays to be alert, it pays to be ready. And do you know, I always think of August is okay, July, August, summer, things might be quiet, things might be calm, but just be prepared. And I think just be alert to the potential lack of liquidity. Go back and look at last August. Obviously, we had, what was it, Japanese debt or Japanese carry trade unwinding? I can't remember now, so long ago. That was wild. Time before was weak. 24. Yeah, was the crisis. 23 was weak. 22, if I remember, was a weak and then closed strong. So it was often quite interesting. 21 and 20, or was it 21, 22? They closed at all-time highs. So stuff tends to happen in August. That's by the by. We want to start this month with some webinars. What time are we? Yeah, we'll get started. So welcome, ladies and gents. My name is Mark Colstead. Pleasure to have you here. Today, we are going to, let me cover what we're going to talk about. Let's kind of dial ourselves in here. Let's get rolling. So this August, I approached Pepperstone, and I have to thank Pepperstone for kind of letting me talk about what I think is going to help the most with your trading. And I said, listen, I want to do a Summer Stoic series, right? I take a lot of ideas from the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, some of you have read in Meditations, Seneca, Epictetus, not necessarily to live a life just like that, but from a trading perspective, I think that we can learn a lot from the Stoics. And I personally take a lot of the kind of the quotes, the mantras, the ways that they think about things and bring it into my own trading. I think that's helped me over the years remain calm, deal with setbacks, deal with knocks, not get too cocky when things are going well, all the things that can derail a trader. And so this month I decided to put together kind of stuff that I liked. And as I always do with these webinars, guys, I like to share things that I think can help you with stuff that I like talking about. I've been in this game for a couple of decades plus, and I want to, if I'm going to share stuff that I think I want to do something that excites me and I think is interesting, I think it's going to help you as well. So, I'm by no means an expert on the Stoics. However, I've studied them quite a lot and applied them to my trading. And I think that it's something that can help you become more mindful. And we're going to talk today about commanding your trading focus and bringing your attention and kind of keeping that concentration longer. So that's the topic of today. But over the next kind of few weeks, really taking inspiration and ideas from the Stoics, some of the quotes, some of the things in Meditations, and bringing them into trading. So let's get rid of some of the stuff that maybe wasn't so relevant. And yeah, were they perfect? Of course they weren't. There was plenty of stuff going on if you study them that wasn't that great. But let's take the best. Like these guys who went before were in interesting and challenging times. And whilst we're living in a great environment now, 2025, it's the best time to be alive for a human being. There's a lot of adversity in trading. And I don't want to compare kind of trading some adversity that perhaps some of these guys had many, many years ago, but as well as I do, trading's tough, right? It's a mental game. And if we can crack the mental game, then that really unlocks a lot. The strategy is one thing, fine. We have to dial in strategy. We have to, make sure we're trading with edge. Of course we do. But, one of the main things here is that we kind of get our mindset right. So this next few weeks, I put these webinars together. They're not going to be heavy. They're going to be something that you can kind of really dip into I forget the disclaimer. Let's go back to this bit here. Where is it? So yeah, something you can dip into, right? August slows down, but I think that it's a good time to kind of take some um, carve out some time to move your trading forward. What you don't want, and I've fallen into this trap before many times, is you back off the throttle, you think nothing's going on, you half-heartedly look at stuff, you end up coming in September all fired up, ready to go, or last week of August, hammering away, or even if you're trading during August and making a mess of things. So if you're on holiday, if you're doing stuff, if you're relaxing, absolutely you should. But this is a great topic to kind of dip in and out of, learn a bit, and I'll give you some resources in a moment that you can take and download and use for yourself. But to really think, and I know it's early to think about this, but Q4, like okay, Q4 is coming up. We've got August, we've got September. Let's get some momentum built so that you can build the mindset and forge that mentality that you want ready to kind of hit the ground running in Q4. Because the best traders and something I've improved over the decades is you're just thinking longer term. Like okay, fine, it's all about the trade now, executing now, managing the risk now, doing the best I possibly can today. But it's building momentum the other side of trading, mindset work, whether it's journaling, all that type of stuff, so that you can kind of, because that stuff basically helps you 30 days, 90 days out. The work you do now, the long-term work you do now on your mindset, the mental training we're going to talk about in a moment, visualization, journaling, that stuff kicks into gear 30, 60, 90 days out. And so you kind of have to kind of build the foundations, and this is a great time to do it. So Summer Stoic series, 4-part series. We have got, let me just check my other, where are we, the subjects we've got. So today, command your trading focus. Next week, sharpen your trader's eye. So we're talking about kind of really spotting emotion, seeing clearly, mastering your reactions, being kind of more of in command of your emotions, and kind of building that intuitive nature and allowing that to kind of harness that lot much more, because as a discretionary trader, like it or not, intuition plays a big part. Now, if you're very early on in your trading journey, you're just building that, and it's very difficult to say, well, I know what's going to happen. But as you kind of go through the years, you've seen that movie before, your subconscious gets to recognize patterns and behaviors in the market, repeatable, and you want to get to a point where you trust that intuitive nature. So that's week 2. Week 3, we're talking about forging the trader's inner citadel. So it's detaching from outcomes, building that resilience. And the final week, hardening the trading mind. So kind of building that robust mindset that allows you to listen. The other day, we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't love trading, right? You and I both love trading. We all love trading over here. But sometimes it can beat you down, and you feel like I'm doing everything I should be doing, but I'm still not getting the results I want. That's when week 4 comes in, when you're kind of just becoming so stoic about it, and like, listen, I know I have to go through this. I know I have to keep on the journey. I know I have to deal with these setbacks, these losses, these stagnations, these challenges, and not get derailed, and not behave like the crowd and the mob and getting over emotional about stuff. We're human beings, we're driven, we're ambitious, absolutely. But if we can take a little sprinkle of the stoic mindset into our trading, I think it will help loads. Okay, so let's go back to this slide. We're going to go back and forward slides here. So, of course, I have to remind everybody, of course, if you're trading CFDs, trading spread bets, any product that's with leverage or margin, things can get nasty very, very quickly. Marcus Aurelius would have said to you, hey, be careful, it's a double-edged sword. He would have had some real excellent quote to it. I don't have an excellent quote for you, but all I say is, listen, understand the risks involved in trading, guys. Please understand what you're trading, how leverage works. It works very, very nicely when it's in your favor. And if you were long this morning from the open in NASDAQ and you were fully loaded, you're like, thank you very much, leverage. Very nice indeed. Your bank account thanks you for it. But if you were short, it's going against you, and things can get nasty very, very quickly. Losses can mount up very quickly. We try to use risk management techniques like stop losses, position sizing, understanding gap risk, understanding slippage, all the other stuff that comes into it, but we can't eliminate risk completely. We're trying to tilt the odds in our favor and make leverage work for us, but losses are unavoidable. They will happen, so we have to manage those. And when everything's amplified with leverage, you just got to be aware of that. So I know many of you know this already, so just be aware of the instrument you're trading. If you're brand new here, welcome. You're welcome here. We do these every week. And if you're brand new to trading, just trade on a demo for a bit. Trade a very, very small size. Just get used to stuff and just get bed in and understand how the market works before you kind of decide to deploy some capital. And of course, if you do decide to deploy capital, make sure it is capital that you can afford to lose, because I love seeing new traders come into the game. I love seeing passionate traders, ambitious traders. Great. And I help you as much as I can on these webinars. But I really hate it when I see people losing money because they didn't really understand what they were doing. That stings. If you lost money because you're learning, fine. That's the part that's cost of doing business, right? But yeah, just anyway, waffling on about risk. Hopefully you all know this by now. Please be well aware. All right, so where are we? We are here. So a quick reminder that I've been trading for 24 years. I say 25, it's not quite 25, 24, started 2001. I've got decent experience, but I don't stand here and say, I know everything, listen to me, do as I do, and exactly this. I try and share with you ideas that I think are going to help you with your trading. And many of you who've been here on these webinars a while, you know that, and you know that, every webinar is going to hit the mark, but you're still here because you're taking little pieces and you're building your trading process, you're building your mindset, you're building your strategy, all that type of stuff over time. So I'm not here to say, hey, I've got all the answers, listen to me, because I don't. I will try and help you as much as I can. I have exposure to some absolutely fantastic traders, some developing traders, some not so great traders, and now I'm in a kind of unique position where I can kind of take all that, take what I think from different personality styles, and kind of present that to you and say, here you go. I think this is worth looking at. Off you go. You do your own research. You do your own homework. Just like we're going to do today with this, I think the Stoics are an excellent thing to study. Absolutely excellent. It really, why I like these so much is because, listen, most of us in here are men, right? There's a few girls in there. Welcome. Everyone is welcome, of course. But it's kind of this masculine approach to things of like, hey, I'm Atlas. Have you ever read Atlas Shrugged, or the Atlas of like, hey, you've got the world on your shoulders, you're trying to perform, you're trying to move forward, and you have to be robust. You can't crumble. You have to be persistent. You have to be resilient. You have to be resourceful. And I think the Stoic philosophy embodies all of that. And it's kind of a good mentality to have. If you're in the heat of the moment, if things aren't going your way, and you're struggling, it's like, hey, what would Marcus do? What would Marcus think about this? And I know it sounds maybe a little bit foolish, fine, but it just resets your mind into, I need to accept this. I can't control this now. And we'll talk about things like that in a moment. And it's really, it's a really good kind of North Star to have. I think the best way of trading is to have this kind of North Stars, your strategy, your style, and your mindset. You go, hey, I kind of try and trade in a stoic way as possible. So let's start today with attention. Enough of that. Let's go into the topic in the meat. Having good focus allows us to really stay dialed in to the trade we're about to take, right? If you can trade, and today what we're trying to do is train attention. We're trying to get our focus so that we can call upon it quickly. We can keep it for as long as we like, within reason. We're not superhuman, right? We can concentrate on the market. We can concentrate on something, and we're good at that. That's a skill to develop. I think as some traders, we drift off. We start doing other things. And we want to be able to concentrate to allow the intuitive nature of discretionary trading to come through, absorbing and interpreting market clues, as I said there, not easily distracted by other things going on. Oh, 1 minute candle spiked. Oh, that's going to seduce me. I'm going to take that. We're trying to be cool and calm and focused and concentrating. And today, and reset quickly, of course. And today I'm going to go through some training drills that I have. And things that I think will help you improve your concentration. So the beauty of this is, whether you're a day trader, whether you are a scalper, whether you're a swing trader, whatever instrument you trade, whatever size you trade as well, you require concentration, you require focus. And so any training we can do, and this, I'm not saying this is not massively long-winded stuff. This is short, sharp things that will help you improve your focus and your attention, so that whatever you trade, you'll just do better at it. Because I don't think anyone can argue that if I was concentrating less, I'd do better. Yeah, there is an argument to say if you're gripping something too tight and forcing it too hard, you do worse, but that's not what we're talking about here. Focus, concentration. If you're going to do it properly and put all your resources into it, because this is meaningful, right? The goal here is a meaningful goal. It's worth putting the effort and energy in. And so anything you can do to give yourself that little bit of extra edge, if you can focus and concentrate better than the next person, you're going to get better results than the next person, all other things being equal. And I think it's one of the easier levers to pull. Okay, so Epictetus said this: some things are up to us and some are not. So control the controllables. Your edge begins where your control begins. We can't control price. We can't control what the market will do. We can't get frustrated by the market. We can't treat it as a human being that we want to get revenge on or feel that emotional attachment to it, because we can't control it. But we can control our preparation, our mindset, concentration, how we execute. That is up to us. And so this pressure comes off your shoulders, and this type of the freedom comes from knowing what you can do, control, and what you can't. Okay, so why focus matters. Every trade is something you think of, right? You come up with the idea, you come up with the level, you come up with the trigger, you come up with the filter, all that type of stuff. If you're distracted, I mean, listen, how many times have you done this? How many times have I done this in my trading career? Too many to count, lost probably an awful lot. Get distracted by something. Could be external, could be internal, and that causes you to take a trade you didn't really want to take. It causes you to take a trade in a market you probably didn't have any business being in, maybe make a mistake, oversize, undersize. So, focus does help improve our edge, right? And the more we can improve it, the better we can get. Now, listen, I live in the real world, right? I live in the real world, and the way that I approach health personally, like if we're going to segue, is I don't want to be completely, dictating my life. Like, I want to be in reasonable shape. I want to be strong. I want to go to the gym, but I occasionally want a beer. I occasionally want a pizza, but I want to have that balance. And so trading, I think, is like that, right? We want to enjoy the journey. We don't want to be so militant and so angry at ourselves for our lack of performance that we make it tough, because you won't stick it out. I don't know about if anyone else has gone on like health journeys or building muscle, losing weight. If you make it too militant, you can't stick to it forever. At some point, you have to break off. Whereas if you make it a lifestyle, like, hey, you know what? I just kind of control what I eat. I eat a little bit more protein. I go to the gym, and then maybe you're not absolutely dialed in and chiseled, but you're not walking around in an absolute mess. You've got that balance. And the same with trading, right? Don't want to take it to a point where you're 24/7 so dialed in, nothing else matters, and you disregarding anything that's fun in life and your family. That's a silly way to trade. You don't need to be like that. The idea here is, you want to have that targeted clarity when the market demands it or when you demand it. And if you can call on that, it's a bit of a superpower. And a great analogy here of like, it's a spotlight, not a floodlight. You're like, hey, I'm going to bring the concentration, bring that energy when I need it. And so let's try to build that. And Epictetus says to be everywhere is to be nowhere. I know that many of you trade in kind of distracting environments, and that's just I understand, appreciate you do what you can, right? But we need to try and eliminate as much of that as possible. We need to eliminate these external distractions, eliminate the internal ones. So I accept sometimes you're grabbing, not everyone has a dedicated trading office, not everyone has a dedicated space. Sometimes you're grabbing space at a kitchen table, there's other people around. I get it, I understand. But do what you can to eliminate external noise. So put your phone on do not disturb mode, right? Take off any alerts, like any noise, any kind of social media type stuff. Invest in noise cancelling headphones, because like I said before in the previous slide, we don't want to be, doing it all the time, but we want to be able to bring that attention and focus and just get in that zone, so to speak. I don't want to use that terminology, but to be so dialed in that, we give ourselves, it doesn't guarantee we're going to see the right trade, but it absolutely means it gives our best possible shot. If your phone's dinging, you're doing this, you're chatting away, like it just doesn't help. And also internally as well, the self-doubt, going on tilt, hesitation, this type of stuff is what we're trying to eliminate. Okay, so let's start with auditing attention, and then let's go through some drills. And by the way, I have for you at the end, I'll tell you how you can get this. I've got a 5-part audio system that I had Let me tell you about the end. I'll tell you about the end. I'll tell you how to get that. You can get a free copy of that. Let me tell you all about it at the end. We'll go off track here. I'll tell you how I got it and how I got it built and stuff. Let's keep rolling. So ask yourself this: when are you most distracted in trading? What's your biggest concentration killer? Do you control your mental space or does it control you? And so the typical answer here might be, I'm most distracted at the open because I feel rushed. I've come to the screen. I've just been answering emails. Maybe you've been at work, you've been on a Zoom call, you've been on a call with a colleague, and you're trying to trade, but your mind's elsewhere. Maybe that's when you're most distracted. Maybe you're distracted when you're trading from you're in family home, you've got kids running around, husband, wife running around, whatever it might be. Maybe that's when you're most distracted. Maybe you're most distracted when the market's volatile and there's so much going on in terms of price. Or maybe your distraction comes from internally, where actually you've had a losing run, you've been stagnating, and the distraction doesn't come from external sources, it comes from internal sources, as I said before, where actually your mind is going to recovery of P&L. I've got to get over this hurdle, I've got to do this, rather than focusing on price, the setup, the trade, the market. What's your biggest concentration killer? Sometimes it's just duration of sitting in front of the screen for so long you're fatigued, right? So how can we get the most out of it without draining our soul out of us? Is it that you're getting distracted by, price starts sitting there doing nothing for a while, you get distracted, you start browsing the internet, you start looking at social, whatever it is. Next thing is price does something, you get sucked into it, you react, you take a trade. Naturally, if you zoomed out and kind of adjusted the scale on the chart, you go, you know what, there's no real trade there. It's just that relative to the chop we had, that looks like a lot. That maybe that lack of concentration taking you away and back in is what's doing the damage. And these are easy fixes. We'll talk about some tactics in a moment, but just also obviously just identifying them are easy fixes. I remember, when I was kind of developing and coming up, and just 25 years, you're still developing. 50 years, you're still developing. You're trying to become, the best you can be at the level you are now, take it to the next level. But I remember, trading back when I had like beige CRT monitors, right? And you'd sit there, the market would be quite quiet, and then you kind of browse the internet for a little bit, then you come back, and I remember saying to myself, listen, I can't do this. I'm either trading or I'm browsing. And I came up with this thing which I adhere to this day is, hey, if you are going on the internet, you're looking at whatever you're looking at, you're looking at the news, you're going on social media back then, you're going on a forum, you're looking at YouTube, you're watching a course, whatever, you're intentionally doing that. You're not trading, you're not broke, platform's not up, you're intentionally doing that, or you're trading. You can't dip one or the other, because I think that's where you dilute your attention, you dilute your focus, and you end up getting sucked into trade you don't want to take. I know some traders who have dedicated machines just for trading. They have a laptop for browsing the internet, and they have a machine that's just for trading. They don't have a browser on it. That's a really good way of doing stuff. And I'm using this as an example, right? It could be anything. It could be a phone. It could be absolutely anything, right? And so just being aware of, what causes your attention to drift is, is one of the biggest things. It's like being aware of where your nemesis is from an execution perspective. Do you chase markets too much? Do you oversize? Is discipline issue? Just being self-aware. It all comes back to that same root. So the brain under pressure, has the fight or flight. You make decisions from a different part of your brain depending on how you're interpreting stuff. So if you're at the desk, stuff's moving quickly, the blood flows to a different part of the brain because you're not concentrating or focusing on what's happening, and so you end up making a decision based on the fight or flight mechanism as opposed to the cool, calm logic side. And so we want to, make sure that we're able to be cool and calm under pressure. We're focused, and we can draw that focus and attention when we want. So Marcus Aurelius said this. He reminded himself to see things as they are, and he practiced a kind of form of present moment awareness, right? Which is, I know there's some people out there who meditate. That's fine. Absolutely, there's nothing wrong with meditation, and absolutely it's an avenue to get down. Then explore it. But what Marcus Aurelius did is he would kind of really sit in the moment, and he would not necessarily sit there cross-legged and kind of do the classic meditation thing. There's nothing wrong with that type of thing. But if you're perhaps that's not quite for you, or you experimented and it didn't quite work. Another way of getting that mindfulness is to kind of do what Marcus Aurelius used to do, which was really like be in the present, not chasing thoughts, not attaching emotion to anything, just clear like perception. And so a couple of ways of doing this. Number one is like a candle focus. So you pick a chart and you just watch price move. You just watch price. You don't have any judgment. You don't have any trade on. You don't do anything except for observe price. And if you go back, to see things as they are, Marcus Aurelius telling us to see things exactly as they are. From a trading perspective, we're just seeing price. We're not making any guesses of where it's going. We're just looking at price, and we're just saying to ourselves, what's happening? High's been taken out. Let's see things as they are. We've rolled back to the VWAP, see things as they are. Gone to highs, gone to lows, back to the same price we were 2 minutes ago. Seeing things as they are. And what this does is it trains you to be present. And listen, you might not be a day trader, fine. This might not even, but what it does is it allows you to kind of be present in the moment and just be aware of what's happening now and the truth of the market. One thing that the Stoics were very good at was stripping away all the influences and all the lens that you look at the markets through, but that conflict through and life through. And that's such a good way of looking at the markets, right? Because if you can strip back all your preconceived notions, if you can strip back all your biases or your emotions based on your performance recently, whether you've had an outstanding July or an awful July, if you can put that all to one side and you can kind of just build this, attention, and there's this kind of short drill that takes no time at all, starts to cultivate and craft that the kind of the Stoic feeling about price. Like there's nothing to be read into this other than it's gone up a tick, it's gone down 5 ticks. Okay, narrate. It's such a powerful thing. And taking the burden pressure of performance off your shoulders is something absolutely. If Marcus Aurelius was a trader, if Epictetus was a trader, Seneca was a trader, I know that they would be saying, hey, I want to observe price without the pressure of performance. I don't want P&L in front of me. I don't want a position. I want to observe price objectively. Okay, so another tactic here for you. So Seneca said this. He said, a great mind is above insults, above pain, above the passions, and above all things that disturb us. And so he talked about this like a rational pause is the best way of putting it, which is, the Stoic doesn't react. He responds with reason. It's that pause. It's that moment when you feel like you want to chase the market. You feel like you want to add extra size. You get annoyed by your stopped out. It's just the ability and cultivating and training the ability to have the strong trader's mind, the Stoic mind of pausing the thoughts and saying, hey, listen. And Denise Schull says this for a trading psychologist. She was allegedly the inspiration for Wendy from Billions. And she says this a lot. It's like you don't silence the emotion, right? You just don't have to obey it. And other people have said this in different ways. Like just because you think it doesn't mean you believe it. That is so true in trading. Like this as well as I do, that you can tell yourself, oh, I'm the worst, I can't do this, why can't I stick to the rules, I can't believe I did this, I can't believe I broke the plan, I didn't. And all that does is it just breeds resentment, it breeds frustration, all this stuff just starts to build and stagnate and just gets worse and worse and worse. But the real unlock here is not to not feel that, it's to just pause and say, hey, I feel that emotion, right? That's okay. But it doesn't define me and doesn't necessarily mean it's true, and I don't have to obey the thoughts it's telling me, right? And if you think about the average idiot in a bar who goes around punching people, you think about years ago, if you're out, drinking and stuff, there'd always be one idiot because they couldn't control their emotion. They get angry, someone spilt the pint. Next thing is they're in a scrap. It's like, but someone spills your pint, you're frustrated. You're like, oh man. But it's no one ever lashing out and knocking people out. Same with the market, right? You get stopped out of lows and you're long. It's annoying, but you don't lash out. And so it's taking this Stoic nature and training with composure instead of chaos. So here's another drill for you. I call it the clear mind minute. And I think this is something that Seneca would have really kind of pioneered and said if he was a trader, he would have definitely done this. So set a 1 minute timer. Start with 1 minute. You can expand it, and absolutely you should expand this. And this is, I guess, this is kind of the meditation route. And absolutely, this is, meditation is not my area of expertise at all. If anything, I struggle with meditation. I've always struggled, but I can do stuff like this. I can do this short mindfulness in different areas, whether I'm a sauna, whether I'm swimming, whether I'm walking, whether I've got this kind of attention drills here. So maybe it's for you. If you're not a kind of big meditator, is that right? Meditator? Maybe it is. Then it might be something for you. So set a timer and you just sit still. And you can keep your eyes open, no screens, and you just watch your thoughts. I'm pretty sure that's what the guys who meditate do, right? And the idea here is that you're able to observe your thoughts, and being self-aware as a trader is kind of a real superpower. From a perspective of having control over your not controlling emotions, but allowing the emotions not to control you. And as Seneca said, I will keep constant watch over myself, and most usefully will put each day up for review. And so, being able to clear the mind and being able to focus and concentrate. And yes, when we're trading, we want something in our mind. But what this does is it allows you to kind of wipe the slate clean and say, hey, now I'm fresh, now I'm ready, now I'm going to observe the market, or now I'm going to review my trades, or whatever it is. So it's kind of like because I don't know about you, but often I'll go into if I'm doing something, maybe I'm observing the market, maybe I'm reviewing my trades, assessing my journal. If my mind is clouded with other stuff, I don't do a good job. I definitely don't do a good job of reviewing correctly. I don't do a good job of the market looks confusing to me. And so I have to go in with this clean slate of, okay, clear my mind. Just have it clear, and then bang, right, let's go in and now because there's a lot of stuff going on, right? Especially if you're taking a trade and you're a day trader, you've got volume to look at, you've got price, if you make a decision a little bit too late, you've missed the IVR of the trade is screwed up. You're watching this, you're watching that, time of day, where's your stop, there's a lot to process, there's a lot of cognitive load. And so giving yourself the best possible chance of success here by saying, you know what, if I can clear my mind and then I can go in and I can observe, all of a sudden it's just a skill. You just go clear the mind, go in and trading, clear the mind before the open, go and trade, clear the mind reviewing thing, and this type of stuff, it sounds like a little bit funky, but in reality, it's an easy skill to develop. And once you've developed it, it gives you an extra edge. And why not? Why not do as much as you can to get as much edge as possible? So something I think that we all struggle with here is, we're so driven, right? Because this business attracts ambition, attracts ambitious people, it attracts type A's, I guess is the way that people phrase it. Like they want more, they want to push forward. And especially if you're here kind of watching this, you've kind of gone past the beginner stage. You recognize it's not quite as easy as buy low, sell high. I need to work on my mind. And so you're already through the stage of this is tough. And so almost guaranteed you're on this webinar, you are quite hard on yourself. You probably self-talk isn't as pleasant as it could be. You probably called yourself every name under the sun. And so we've all been there. It's giving yourself a little bit of leeway and saying, hey, if you can't focus, if you struggle with the kind of the drills, then it's okay. Like it's fine. You're going to drift off. It's normal, right? And all we're trying to develop here with these little mini drills is self-awareness skill. So in the heat of the moment, even though it's not relevant to these drills specifically, in the heat of the moment when you're about to take a trade and you feel that sense of urgency, you can differentiate between the FOMO and actually intuitive signal that's saying, this feels like it could be a top. This feels like I'm chasing a bit here. I don't think there's edge here. There's a distinct difference of, okay, well, actually would be this, wouldn't it? I need to get in now because I think there's momentum versus I need to get in now because I think I'm going to miss it. So being self-aware enough to differentiate and distinguish between those two voices is what we're training here, right? We're trying to train the stillness and the concentration, the focus that allows you to interpret the two different voices. Because we've all been to the situation markets. I wanted to get in because I think it's going to go higher. Well, is that FOMO? Is saying that? Is it because you feel like it's going to rip and you're going to miss it? Or is it genuine momentum as part of your trading plan or trading strategy? In which case, by the way, you probably wait for a pause and a pullback and jump on there. But there's a distinct difference. And so if you do slip, reset, it's fine. Notice it early, breathe, reset, focus, whichever those drills you're taking. Okay, so here's something to consider. So a new focus routine that you could deploy is this: 3-minute pre-market attention drill. Eliminate digital distractions, phone, tabs, etc. Now, this is a big one, right? We live in the age, and I'm not lecture anybody about this. God, it's difficult enough, right, to kind of keep focused. But you don't want news, you don't want notifications, you don't want anything streaming, you don't want anything. And this is why I created these binaural beats and how these professionally produced. Headphones on, binaural beats. More about these in a moment, but they create, like, you can have the 30 hertz and the 16 hertz ones, and I give these to you, and they create an ability to stay focused. And I use them loads to try to get focused. And because you probably know, right, that you have the knowledge in there, you have the ability to trade. You've probably had spells of greatness, and you've had spells where it's just gone to pot. And so what you're trying to do with all of this stuff, with the downloads I'm going to give you, with this training, with thinking like the Stoics, is you're trying to give yourself the best possible chance of allowing that brain that's absorbed all that knowledge, all that screen time, to actually generate P&L, positive P&L from it. And actually, often the disconnect isn't a knowledge issue. It isn't, I need another setup, another strategy issue. It's a mindset issue, but it's deeper than that. Sometimes it's just allowing yourself to focus on the job in hand and not get distracted. And I know it sounds simplistic, guys, but honestly, sometimes that's the case. It's like if you were fully focused on your trading with no distractions, you've got your headphones on, you've got your binaural beats, or whatever the hell you wanted to, you have to use these things. You can use whatever you want. You eliminated all the digital distractions, all the internal distractions, external distractions, got good at focusing yourself. You'd be surprised at how that would change your performance. You'd be surprised at how much is already in there, but it's just getting it out when the time's right and not letting it be tainted and polluted with emotion. That's the key. Is that you know when to buy, you know when to sell, you know the trades look good, you know what's FOMO, you know what's rushing into trade, you know what's revenge, you know all the stuff. But in the heat of the moment, the focus isn't there, the concentration isn't there, and the thoughts are polluted with emotion. And so anything we can do to improve focus, to improve concentration, to not regulate, but to recognize emotion and not let it influence the trading decisions, that's the unlock. That's the unlock. So choose one objective per session and just get used to a new kind of focus regime. So clear workspace. I'm going to give you these audios in a moment on how to use these things. Some sort of breath work. And the idea here is this is slightly different from pre-market prep, right? You want to really get into the zone, really get into focus, and you want to get into this flow state. And so the idea here is you have a mental reset, whether that's looking at price, whether that's just relaxing, whether you're a meditator, whatever it might be, but that's separate from the pre-market prep of what are my key levels, what was my opening range, what was my overnight high, my overnight low, but whatever else, whatever is valuable to you. And you're trying to develop this feeling of, Mark Douglas talked about this, of trading in the zone, but you're trying to develop this flow state, and it's something you get better at, and it's something that you might be watching and go, I can't get into that mode, and so you try and reset. I can't get, okay, fine, well, I won't trade because I know that I am the edge. I'm a discretionary trader. You're a discretionary trader. You are the edge, not a system per se, but you obviously have a strategy, you have a plan, but you're the edge. You perceive these little things, these little variables. Sometimes you can't explain it, but being able to unlock that is the difference maker. And why do you think, right? Why do you think you have people who, know everything about trading, but still struggle to put the rubber to the road? It's because they're not allowing that knowledge to actually translate to the price action they see in front of them. And maybe that's you, and it's every trader at some point. Okay, why is this not translating? And often it's the case that you're not allowing it because you're suppressing the intuitive nature, you're suppressing the emotion, you're not getting yourself into that flow state of concentration. So train it, build it. It doesn't take long to do. It's just, again, anything in trading, it's intentionality, right? If you can intentionally improve the way that you focus and draw on it quickly and concentration, it changes massively. So What gets in the way of doing this? Multitasking, I think, well, it's been proven that it's a myth, right? We talk about multitasking, and yes, if you're doing something meaningless like mowing the lawn and texting on your phone, fine, you can probably get away with that, right? Because well, whatever you're not using that much cognitive load. But if you're trying to trade and you're trying to observe another market at the same time, give yourself a break, man. Just focus on one thing. Like I'm focused on this. I'm not looking at that. I'm not going to do this and look at my phone. I'm not going to journal at the same time as I'm executing. Yeah, just little operational considerations and changes can make a big difference. Watching every market once. Recipe for disaster. I know some people can do it fine, but I think the majority of traders can't. I'm one of those people who has to focus, if I'm day trading, on one market at a time. If I start to look at everything else, I know that my focus and energy is diluted, and I know that I won't have anywhere near as much edge. And if I'm not careful, it'll slip into negative edge and chasing action instead of clarity. And what I mean by this is that you're going away from the stoic kind of mindset and you're getting sucked into everything. You are letting the market dictate your actions. Oh, the market's running, I must get on board. Oh, so and so spiking, that's dropping, I'm going to do this. And how many traders you see do that? If you ever kind of watch newer traders, how they approach trading, oh, look at that moving, that's moving, this is moving. It's like, the market's just kind of dangling a little bell and they're salivating. And it's, oh, yeah, oh, do this, do that, jump how high. There's no way in a million years there's edge in that. You and I both know this. And so it's being very self-aware and being very focused on like, this is my edge. This is what I'm concentrating on. I'm not going to deviate from the plan. I'm not going to deviate from anything else. You can dangle this rallying gold over here. Crude oil can fall through the floor here. I'm focused on this. Now, might you shift your awareness intentionally to something else? Fine. That's different, right? If you're a trader and you're going where you think the edge and opportunity is, by all means, you considered movement and adjustment of focus. This market's not moving. There's opportunity here. I'm done with this. It's not flip-flopping back and forth. It's a considered decision of intentional focus. This is the elevated level of a trader. Okay, gone back here. So want to build our focus like a muscle, do the reps, get better at it, just like you're in the gym, do reps, do reps, do reps. You can't help but improve it, right? Schedule these short mental gym sessions, focus, watching the market, sitting still. These are just ideas, right? You can go and find ideas for yourself. Use stuff like binaural beats, breath work, visualization, anything to improve focus. Like I say, I am awful at meditating, not something I can do, tried it, never really got into it, but I'm great at sitting in the sauna after a heavy gym session and just being so mindful and so dialed in and like everything just disappearing from my brain. And that's good enough. I'm so good at being able to sit here and just calm the day, get my binaural beats on, get my headphones on and just relax, bring my breath down. I'm not a meditator, but you find your own groove. Maybe you are, but you have to have something where you can build the focus and intentionality in your trading. Otherwise, it's so difficult. It really is. So something you could try out. Run these 3 candle focus drills. So you're watching price with no bias, with no intention to it, with no anchor, with no emotion, with no attachment. You're just watching price. And one thing you can do to try this is try watching price for a market you don't have any attachment to and you don't normally trade, and then upgrade and advance to more stuff that you're familiar with. Eliminate something that's distracting you. Just try one thing. Like get used to having your phone on do not disturb mode or getting it over in the corner. Just get used to kind of clearing the desk of clutter. Like it builds up over time. I get it, right? I live in the real world. You've got a coffee cup here, you got this, but you get used to clearing it so that your mind is just free to focus on the job in hand. It's important, right? It's important because if you can focus, you can take in all the different variables of the market, the little clues, the little tells. That ultimately, there's a few steps to it, results in a better P&L or can result in a better P&L. And why not give yourself the best possible chance of success? And you know as well as I do that if you eliminate some of the crappier trades, just a handful of the crappy trades you had in the quarter or the month, that has a massive improvement on the P&L. So if a couple of drills like this intentionally improves your focus and means you don't take some of those losers, that's a big win. And if it improves some of the winners as well, you get a double benefit there, taking away some of the awful losers from lack of focus. You're making some better trades because you're dialed in. You're really kind of learning and putting the knowledge that you've got into action. Okay, I'll talk about these audios in a moment. So final thought here. I think, in fact, I don't think, I know that focus is something that you can train, and the Stoics believe this too. If you read any of the Stoic material, they will say that it's something that they had to become good at. And if you read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and we're going to go through more of this over the weeks for different styles and approaches, but if you can embody that mindset and that thought, and saying, okay, do you know what? It's something I need to divert some effort to, because if I can withstand any pressure the market throws at me, if I can be neutral to any emotion, and by the way, I'm not saying taking the human ability out trading and being a dull guy that doesn't even think of anything, have no emotion. No, no. It's recognizing and not allowing them to control your trades. It's not allowing the emotions and the everyday distractions in life and the busyness of the world to dictate how you trade. It's a sacred sanctuary where you and the market are trying to perform. And if you can train to get in the right state of mind for that, like I say, it's one of the unlocks that helps whatever you trade, whatever level you're at. And then, by the way, if you're kind of new to trading, this is a great thing to get into so that as you're more experienced, you become good at this. You might be like, what, Mark, I want strategies, and fine, I get it. When you're new at trading, that's what you want. But if you're more experienced, this is where to divert some attention. And why I say that August is a perfect time to do this, because if you are taking holidays, if you are backing off, you've got some family time, absolutely great, do that. But it's a time where you can grab a few minutes and just sit and just think about nothing. Just watch price. You can do these kind of drills without having, right being in front of the screens. You can do it. Damn, you can do it outside of the pool if you wanted to, right? But this is kind of the thing that you can develop and build, so that as you come out to the end of August, maybe you've got some more time to trade, maybe markets are more favorable, you can be really dialed in. And Epictetus quote here, no man is free who is not master of himself. Any trader who jumps when the market says, or when the market moves, they say, a market says jump, sorry, and they say how high, will never ever get to the level of consistency they want. So if there's any of that in your trading, it needs to be dealt with, regardless of strategy, regardless of style. It's like, just calmly approach it, improve your focus, improve your confidence. Right, I'll take a few questions, but let me tell you about this. So I had this trading psychology audio system, and I thought for this August, I thought, what? This is normally for Traders Mastermind premium members. It's closed at the moment. We're doing these pods and we're having some great success with that. However, I thought, what? I want to give you this because this has helped me so much. I used to listen to binaural beats on Spotify, and I'd put them through my headphones and I kind of be focused. And I thought, what? Why can't I get some of these like made for me that are built for traders? So with some affirmations in, and while I'm at it, why can't I get the lady who did this to do me some other stuff? Like, I want to have some visualization training so I can go to all the time, market awareness training, be able to reset after kind of, something's not going quite right. So we've got, there's 5 audios here. There is the traders priming audio, which is pre-market meditation. It's not really meditation, but it kind of gets you in the zone, and really helps you kind of get prepared for the trading day. So again, it's aligning that focus. If you struggle to do that, you can just put this on, listen to it, follow it through. There's some kind of words in there that you follow. Audio 2 is what I call a deep work soundtrack. These are 16 hertz binaural beats. So I'm not going to go into depth here, but the science has shown there's 30 hertz, 16 hertz, and they activate different parts of the trading brain. So the 16 hertz version helps you during the trading session stay locked in, increases like reaction speed, increases kind of decision making, all that type of stuff. And there's a little bit of science here. It says that they've been shown to enhance cognitive function, problem solving, and sustained focus, making them ideal for traders needing to stay sharp under pressure. There's a 16 hertz version, there's a 30 hertz version, which is the gamma, and that helps big picture thinking. That's kind of good for analysis, pre-market analysis. And then you've got mental reset drills. So if you're someone who trades on tilt, you can do this. And then audio 5 is the visualization training, and that helps you improve your visualization. So if you would like this, it's completely free. There's no strings attached to it. Whatever, you can have it, download it. It's on a Google Drive. It's my gift to you as part of coming here. and being on this Stoic series. And if you want to improve your trading, I'll help you as much as I possibly can. All you need to do, I tried to set things up. The easiest way to do that is reply to my daily email. So if you go to tradersmastermind.com, I know most of you are on this already. You sign up for my daily emails, send an email out every day. If you reply to any of those emails and you just say, hey, can I have a copy of the Trading Psychology audio system or whatever it might be, Armand, my assistant, will send you a Google Drive link. You can click it, you download it. It's 5 MP3s, yours to keep. Listen to them, use them, discard them, do whatever you want with them. Yours, my gift to you. But you just have to reply. The easiest way without setting up all kinds of nonsense and stuff is just reply to the daily email, because Armand is monitoring that, and Armand then can send you the Google Drive link. Phew. Right, let's have a look, see if we've got any questions, guys. You know what? It's not a questiony type thing, is it? You know, like, you're not speaking to Marcus Aurelius here, right? You're not speaking to Seneca here. You're speaking to a trader who kind of uses a little bit of the Stoic mindset. And honestly, guys, I've found value from it, real good value. I think it's one of the best things from a mindset perspective. Is it perfect? No. It's just more stuff to learn. Of course there is. But I think that it's one of those things that if you can really embody it, then it's a North Star you can always think of as like, okay, well, how would Marcus think about this? You know, what would Seneca think? What would Epictetus say? Would he be chasing stuff going, I don't want to miss this? Would he be doubling up his size? Would he be looking at the market and it's doing nothing? But no, wouldn't he? But like, this is wasting your time. And so always something to think about. Anyway, so if you want a copy of that stuff, guys, send me a reply to the daily email. You can sign up for my daily email at tradersmastermind.com. Send it every day. If you want to unsubscribe after a while, you can do. No offense taken. And next week, we're going to dig into some more stuff as well on the Stoic nature. Chris B says, always an inspiration, Mark. Glad I jumped on. Good to see you, Chris, and hear from you. Ladies and gents, if that is it, we shall call it an evening. And I thank you so much for your attention. I hope it's been invaluable to you. Good trading. Keep your risk managed. I'm sure Marcus Aurelius will say that as well, right? The next one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.